Do you feel like you are stuck in a cycle of busyness that just doesn't seem to end? That you think, okay, I can just get through this next season with so many different commitments and obligations and things that we have to do, but then another one comes right on its heels? Maybe the calendar isn't the problem here. Maybe it could be your tendency to overcommit. We often assume that when we have a full calendar and lots of activities, especially when they're good ones like sports and social obligations in church and things that we're involved and we're doing something good for the community, we think there could never be enough and we should always be giving more and more of ourselves. But what is going on the inside when we are overcommitting in our lives? And what are the costs of this? How can we make changes to the rhythms of our life to have a lifestyle and a rhythm of life that is more conducive to freedom, relaxed relationships, growth, and connection? My name is David McCormick, Doctor of Psychology and Executive Coach. And with the Whole Life Audit, which is our comprehensive framework to evaluate families and organizations in 7 different areas of their lives, to find those hidden dynamics that are tripping them up and not allowing them to grow and find peace and freedom in their connections. And one of the most common things that we discover is that there is a general overcommitment in a family or an organization. We're going to talk a little bit more focused on the families, where we see families that are doing so many good things and they're involved in so many good things, but really they are spread so thin across so many different areas. They are paying the cost of that overcommitment in different areas of their lives. So how can you tell if you're suffering from overcommitment? We need to step back and look a little bit of the psychology of overcommitment, why we do this, what it looks like, and then how can we take a step towards something different. If we look a little bit behind the scenes of what's going on when we are overcommitting in our family life, one of the key indicators can be our own attachment style. There could be a sense that we need to be performing and constantly moving so that everything seems like it's okay. It can be a way for us to navigate through difficult seasons. And when our schedule is full, we feel like we have enough to give and that we don't have to confront the isolating and hard realities of our life. Pleasing others and performing can provide an incredible sense of safety. There are also other underlying variables that could be at play where we have this strong sense that I am only worth something when I am doing something. So this performance is tied to our sense of self-worth. And when we aren't doing as much as we see other families doing, or when we think about saying no to something, that is directly tied to a deep, deep sense in ourselves where we feel like we are not measuring up, we are not valuable because we are not doing all the things that we could be doing. And this is an important driver that is behind many family calendars, that the mom or the dad or both, or even the kids come to believe and internalize this internal process of, I need to be doing so many different things and pleasing all these people and performing for me to feel at peace on the inside. But what ends up happening is that overperformance and overcommitment and that people pleasing tends to rob peace that can only exist in the still, small, quiet place in one's heart where you come to peace with who you are as a person. One way we see this pop up is when families say yes automatically. If you are prone to saying yes towards anything, even if your gut is telling you, don't do this, it's too much, that's a terrible weekend, you're gonna be so tired, you're gonna regret this later, but we feel that pull, that social pull towards, I need to perform for this person, or I need to show up, or there's a need that I can meet and I'm specifically suited to meet, I need to be the one that's showing up. But one thing that we see about this is that it appears to be self-sacrificial and appears to be loving, but is really focused on ourselves and what we can get out of something. And a sure sign that this is happening to you is that when you do have a moment of calm and downtime, there's this low-grade anxiety that you feel like something is wrong. And if you've ever felt that when everything's quiet and you don't have anything lined up in the next couple hours and you just have some space and time for you, you feel like this isn't right. Something is going wrong. That is a sign telling you you are overcommitting and there's a reason why you're doing it that you could discover if you took the time to understand why. So what does this actually cost us? What are the things that we're paying for by having overcommitment in our lives or having such busy schedules? And it's not just that we wear this badge of honor, like we are so busy in the season and always. That busyness translates into chronic stress. In chronic, the word meaning that it's over and over and over again. This is something that's showing up every time that you have a commitment, that you're doing something. It's stressful. It's producing this low-grade anxiety, this stress in your life. And when that's chronic, it has terrible consequences for your body, for your soul, and even for your relationships. And think of your children specifically when they're seeing you stressed out constantly because of the commitments that you're wearing. And also, they have to rise to the standard that you're setting, which is we live really busy lives and we are always doing things and it's just never enough. And any moment of calm and tranquility is something's got to be wrong or something's broken. They're going to grow up with this hypervigilance in their own lives that peaceful moments will almost seem threatening. This is the kind of emotional programming that is going on when we raise our kids up in overcommitted lives and we fill up their schedules too much. Another thing with this, specifically for kids, is you see how important sleep is to the way that they grow, the way that they process their memories, the way that they learn how to emotionally regulate, the way that they show up in relationships. And then you add in this layer of exhaustion that naturally comes from overcommitment. When we are overcommitting in our lives, our kids will get to a place where they just can't take it anymore. Their bodies will start to give out, and we're actually going to see negative correlations in the way that they're growing physically, but also the way that they're maturing emotionally and relationally. If you're seeing your kids just kind of burnt out and you wonder what is going on, we're doing everything right. They're so involved in the sports and the church and all the activities and we're doing everything. It could be that they're just exhausted. That the schedule that you are maintaining is oppressing them and their bodies just can't keep up, and neither can their souls. And one thing the audit comes to specifically show in these spaces with children is that the things that are driving the overcommitment do not align with the said core values of the family. Because if I were to ask you, what are the core values of your family? I doubt any of you would say busyness. But you need to have good boundaries in your life so that you are giving out of the overflow of what you have to give, not from the leftovers. Talking about these beliefs that come behind busyness, there are a couple ones that come to mind. If I'm not busy, I'll fall behind. And this naturally brings into light the way that you are comparing yourself to others, because you're falling behind compared to who? What's the race that you're running here? Who are you comparing yourself to? So if you feel like your busyness correlates to you staying ahead or staying in the race, I would just encourage you to question that whole scenario. What is the race? What are you competing for? Who are you competing against? What are you trying to win? Another one that comes up is that people will think that I'm lazy. And this is a big one about fear of man, self-perception, that I am afraid that people will consider me as lazy if I don't keep up with the demands of other people. If I'm not doing all the different things and saying yes to everything, people will just think that, man, they're so selfish or they're so lazy. And with laziness comes another one where we feel like I need to be doing something for someone else all the time. And that could stem from this belief that to be someone in life, I need to be needed. I need someone to need me. And so I'm constantly doing things, and I'll run the errand, and I'll host this party, and I will do this, and I'll send this gift, and I'll make this phone call. And so we overcommit because we are trying to scratch that itch of I need to feel needed. And maybe you're thinking, no, that's not me. But I would encourage you to dig a little bit deeper. When you say yes to things, if you were to pause that moment of time, what's really going on under the surface? Are you truly saying, I have enough, this is in my wheelhouse, I can do this, I have the bandwidth for it, and so I'm gonna love this person intentionally? Or are you just running on empty and going to the next thing because you feel like you have to? Whatever is going on, there's going to be this certain level of discomfort with the way you are running your lifestyle. And I would encourage you to lean into that discomfort, because that discomfort will lead you to the path towards finding out what's really going on, what you are really trying to achieve through the wrong means. So one of the best ways you can reset this and go in the right direction is doing a family audit, where we put all this on the table before you. You can see on your dashboard, my environmental section in my life is chaotic because I am so overcommitted. And then we go a little bit deeper and see the emotional reasons why you could be doing this and what are the causes of your overcommitment. But if you don't take the time to analyze this and evaluate it and get a third opinion, you're going to keep doing this for a long time. And your kids are going to grow up replicating what they learned by either straying from it so completely and being lazy, or doing the exact same thing you do but worse and being a perfectionist in this. And so there's a lot at stake. There's a lot at stake when we have families. If you do not take the time to put pause on this moment, evaluate what's really going on, look at your heart and see the motivation behind your busyness, behind your commitment, and make small changes in your life. We're not talking about a complete overhaul necessarily of your entire family schedule where you say no to everything, but it starts with small intentional changes where you begin to analyze the decisions you're making and understand your motivations. Because a lot of the time when there's overcommitment, we're making most of our decisions on autopilot. And like always, you need to remind yourself of the truth in this. There is no condemnation for me if I say no to this activity. If I don't accept to be the director of the children's play, and I'm not going to be the assistant coach this season for soccer, and I'm not going to do this thing, and I'm not going to show up to this activity because I'm just too tired and my family needs downtime. The first thing that could come up is the sense of guilt, and that's what we need to attack specifically. I need to understand that there's not any condemnation for what I'm doing wrong, and if it appears selfish to someone else, I do not have control over other people's perceptions, but I do have control over my own agenda. So I would invite you to reclaim this area of your life with intention, knowing that there's so much at stake for you as an individual, but also for your kids. They are learning what rhythms of life should look like. And so are you teaching them that rhythms should be busy and forced? Or are you teaching them that rhythms can be relaxed? The Whole Life Audit can help you uncover a lot of this stuff and bring light to it and make sense of it. And so I encourage you to check it out at mccormickconnect.com. If this content was helpful in any way, I would encourage you to share it with someone you know. It could be a kind of direct, indirect way to share it with someone who's struggling with overcommitment and who's always busy, for them to take a step back and analyze what's really going on. So it can be a helpful tool. I would encourage you to subscribe to the channel and also check out the Whole Life Audit, because it can be one of the best ways for you to find out and gain clarity of what's really going on below the surface, where these issues of busyness and overcommitment are coming. And remember, you do not need to do more to be more. You do need to live in alignment with what matters most.